Hello? Did you start?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's always interesting to try and see when you can't see.
So, good afternoon.
It is afternoon
It
on a
is
Saturday,
Saturday the 10th.
and we are on the front porch of our house where we spend a lot of time watching the birds, having deep discussions about life and stuff, dealing with flies.
Yeah, we got a few flies. So, we are
Another video.
we are extremely impromptu at the moment. Amelia didn't want to grab a book or anything, so we're trying to we want to give an update where we're at.
And wing it. And we have no electric in the house. That's why we're on the porch.
Yeah, part of the issue.
And our doggies are running at the moment. So
So, what do you want to talk about?
well, talk about what you have been dealing with. And I could talk about and like I told him, I said my biggest thing right now is working on every time he says something, and it's just about every time he says something, I'm trying to discern whether it's him or whether I have my trauma glasses on and I'm hearing crap from a man, which is my general uh, play in the background message that I'm realizing that I came out of my childhood with. It's interesting to be awake in my life now, feeling like I have not been awake in my life most of my life, and we kind of joked for years. I joked for years that my kids raised me, or that my 12-year-old was raising my 5 kids. Um, And that did not look like a 12-year-old running around being irresponsible, because I was overly responsible probably at the age of 2. I had an alcoholic mother until I was in 6th grade. And so that required me to be a grown up when she wasn't. Um, those of you out there that drink, and you know who you are, that overdrink, that drink heavily. I'm just gonna make a point here, and you can call me a judger or not, and we all judge. So I'm okay with that label if you want to stick that on the forehead. Just be aware of what you're doing with your kids and showing them what what example you really want them to have, because it is a big deal. You can tell yourself, oh, it's not a big deal. It's no big deal. They're in bed. They're asleep. Well, they know. They know. And you're raising them in a situation where there's a lie in that, maybe they don't know how much you drink. Um, but they know. Kids know things. They are not dumb people. And just because they're not in the room, or just because they didn't see an event happen, they are around and they pick up on energies and they know and they're smart. And so just be aware of how much alcohol and drugs um, you're using and doing, and thinking it's no big deal when it is a big deal. Um, so like I said, the stuff that I'm working on, and it's not easy because it's my go-to has been to have the glasses on. You don't realize you have glasses on until you take them off, and then you realize how long you've had the glasses on. And then it's like you start to pick apart your life, and it's like, oh God, yes, no, I wasn't present for that. No, I wasn't there for that. No, I don't remember that. And when you have 5 kids compared to 1 kid, you got 5 kids telling you something happened, and you're like, nope, don't remember that. Um, and it was just because I was disassociated. For a lot of years, I didn't drink. I started drinking when we bought that building in Marthasville, and thought we were going to have a wine garden, and I thought it would be smart to start to drink and uh, be educated in what I was going to offer people. Sometimes the thinking isn't smart. I'm not going to say correct, but smart. And I still am struggling with alcohol. Am I an alcoholic? Am I falling down drunk? Do I pass out? No. But I still want to reach for it when I don't want to feel. And, alcohol is one of those drugs that doesn't matter how intelligent you are. That has nothing to do with it. My mother was a college educated master's in education. Very intelligent. Both my parents were very intelligent. There are many people out there that are very intelligent people that drink, and it's a interesting circle to run in. So, so looking at him and trying to discern, is that him as the person right here, Roger Williams, or is it the narrative? I hate using that word because it seems like it's one of those catchphrase popular words at the moment, but it is the narrative that men suck, that men are pigs, that men are sneaky, that runs in my background. And as I bring awareness to it, it runs less. And as I practice living in this moment, it's getting easier, but it is still a struggle. It is still difficult. It is still easy to go to the thing I've always been used to, and that is putting the trauma glasses on and looking at life through that and through that conditioning. A lot of people have the belief that, you don't need to go to the past. You don't need to dig up all that crap. You don't need to go back and analyze. You don't have to. And I've gone in different ways in my life as a life coach and helping other people to believing for myself that it's important to understand what happened to me and understand the conditioning and understand what kind of trauma I came out of my childhood with, so that then I can bring awareness to it and change it as it triggers stuff. I'm trying to remember what the thing was that got triggered last week. The whole, and I don't know if we covered that in the most recent video. His attention towards me, his fixate. I'm gonna use the word fixation. It may not be a fixation from his perspective, but from me and my trauma and the conditioning, it's a fixation on me that is really, really difficult to deal with, and it's something that I've been starting to be aware of since he's gotten off the road and he's here every day. I can't do that. I got to a point last week where it was just like, I'm shutting down, I'm running, I'm going metaphorically into the corner, covering my head with a sheet and saying, don't look at me, don't pay attention to me. And then it's a huge paradox for me at the moment, because on the other hand, I'm in a place in my own personal growth to try and have my authentic voice and be my authentic self and be a female and be I don't like that word cute, that triggers stuff, beautiful, attractive, witty, flirtatious, all those things that I just didn't dare allow myself to do or experience or be growing up, because that was the huge red flag on the pole. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. And
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space. I was going to say the Jetsons, and I was like, no, it wasn't the Jetsons.
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space. So that's where I'm at, and you can share your part.
Well, I've been doing a lot of reading with. I'm on day 55.
Yay!
Of the 75 hard, which is amazing. in and of itself. I feel rather empowered around that, and I would highly recommend. And it's I think I might have said this before in this in one of these videos, but it's not about making Andy Frisella be this guru. It's about empowering. It's about self-empowerment, and he's just provided a rather nice tool, with this 75 hard program to be able to track myself. I can track myself, and it's laid out nice and methodically and specifically and simply. And so, but so one of the things is read 10 pages a day, and I usually overachieve and read a lot more than that, but that's okay. The book that I've really been delving into heavily is that one by Miguel Ruiz and Heather Ashimara about the seven secrets of a successful relationship, I think is what it's called. And there's two areas that I've probably reread a number of times, and the one about communication is huge, and for me to be sitting here at 59 years old knowing that I finally took control of my life on May 12th and walked away from that moving business that literally would suck most of the life out of my being, just because it requires a lot. When I was on the road, it required a lot, and I dutifully did it to take care of my family, and that's what I did. And I feel like in a lot of ways I was a zombie for we started Carpe Diem back in 2004, but then before that I've probably driven 6 million miles, and I have an old Kenworth right there that's going up to get sold that's got 1.7 million on it. Anyway, the communication aspect of life in general, but specifically with Amelia and I, because this is what my work is, it's my hope that I can create the connection with her that I would like, and I get frustrated at times because I think to myself, what more could I possibly do to not be classified as that male pig, which those of you that have watched some of these videos, I've said it before, I think probably 95% of the people on this planet that went through what Amelia went through when she was younger are probably drug addicted or dead or
highly successful, non-emotional, numb.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to deal with the shit that she went through, but
yeah, the physical body and the mental and emotional body can go on autopilot for quite a long time, before it starts to break. So there are just various stages of all kinds of stuff.
So my goal is to learn how to have that connection, and I've read the communication part in that book probably literally 5 different times.
Well, and I do think that we are in this space of neither one of us know what a healthy, and I don't like to use that word because that can be defined in so many different ways, but a healthy monogamous relationship is. I didn't see it with my parents, although my parents, I think, were healthier than his. His got divorced. He didn't have it modeled for him. We certainly don't have it modeled in movies and soap operas and sitcoms. And there's so much still womanizing things. There's jabbing. There's sarcasm. So I have to commend him for, and he's kind of basically reading that book now for his 75 hard, and we're together still reading the Nicole book, The Work. But he's really, I see in him really trying to learn what that is, and part of that learning of what a quote normal healthy relationship is then us understanding each other's boundaries and trying to uh, be aware of how difficult it is, but still move forward. Um, and his ideas of moving forward are not the same as mine. Um, and I'm realizing that I am going to have to get to a point, I believe, unless the magic wand just comes down and does some magic spell over me. It's gonna be like, it is going to be like learning how to walk or learning how to ride a bike. And in one way, it's going to seem very mechanical. Um, but I almost think for me to keep the safety boundary, it's going to have to be that way until we get to another and get to the next level of um, me really getting back to that place of trusting him and knowing that he's a soft place to fall, and that I can be my authentic self, whether she's angry, and that's a piece that we've kind of been made aware of, that he just doesn't allow the anger. He doesn't allow me to be angry. He doesn't handle it very well, which is totally understandable from where the household that he came from, with a rageaholic as a father. And so it's still a continuous thing of finding those pieces and working through those pieces and being aware and cognizant and willing. And many days is frustration for him still. And I understand that. And I have a frustration of a different kind. And so I totally stepped in and started talking.
Well, I did not lose my train of thought. I was working towards the communication thing, and one of the most important things that I think like I said, I've probably read it 5 different times. It's not that I'm stupid, but I really am trying to get the pieces that will help us work together. And I think the only thing I can do is be authentic with my communication. I don't know how I can be more authentic than I am. And I've been very honest with Amelia, and those of you that, I don't know if I've said this, but one of my you go back to the love languages.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
We've talked about that probably. But mine is touch, and I not having any whatsoever is it's challenging. And I think to myself, and that's when that victim mentality tries to sneak in, and I say, well, what did I do to deserve a woman that I can't even be close to? I mean, I say that, please understand, and some of you have watched us enough, that we really are we're getting closer as far as our friendship goes, I think, and it's a deeper friendship than we've ever had. I believe that's the truth of that matter. It's the other piece that I want, and she doesn't, and it's like,
no, I'm gonna correct him again.
Okay.
I've corrected him before.
This piece makes no sense to Roger, just FYI.
No, it doesn't. And I think it's a male female thing, because men are like, well, if you want to have sex, then why aren't we having sex? I can't right now, and I think I explained that in the video, that I don't feel like I'm in a space to do that, and I want to. That's that's part of the driving force behind me and my healing, is that I want to be able to get to a place to have that part of the sexual relationship, quote, repaired. That assumes that it's broken, and I'm not saying that it's broken, but I want to, but I'm not able to.
Broken.
Emotionally, mentally, psychologically. Yeah, we did go through this in the last video. Physically, my body's fine. It works just fine. But it's the emotional, mental, spiritual part that is not ready yet. So when he says, I don't want to, that's not a correct statement. And I have to continue to correct that. And I know as a man, you see me not, so you assume that I don't want to. But men are geared different than women, and
it just feels like it's a
well, it's your victim.
Yay or nay choice.
It's a victim mentality that
because
plays.
if you wanted to, you do have a willing.
But do you understand what I'm saying partner. As far as the victim mentality?
I try.
The victim mentality, trying. If it can come over here and say, I don't want to, then you have to look at you and see what you need to fix so that I want to. Do you see that? Because if I'm over here and I'm not capable, then you can come from a different place than a victim and not shame yourself and say, oh, what's wrong with Roger? What does Roger have to do better? What does Roger's trying to do? Roger's trying to jump through all the hoops. There's your underlying victim gets sneaky and plays things out. And if you can state it as, I want to, she doesn't want to, do you see how that whole train of thought goes then? And it's a cyclical one, and it's one you've been in forever, ever since I've known you.
Yeah, the train goes back to the same place every time.
Yeah, until you have a pattern interrupter. And a lot of times that's a car accident, or that's a disease, or that's a death in the family.
Getting off the road feels like a pretty big interrupter.
Yeah, that's a pattern interrupter on a lot of levels.
I don't think I could find one that would be more, what's the word?
Abruptive? Disruptive?
Disruptive.
Abruptive disruptor. Say that 10 times fast.
I don't think that's a word.
Abruptive? Abruptor? I make up words, so I don't know how to spell a lot of stuff, but
you're fine.
I make up words.
Anyway.
So anyway, the I want to piece is, I think it goes back to his victim gets him in that cycle, and then he's over there saying, well, I'm doing everything I can. Why aren't you attracted to me? Well, I am attracted to you, but there's so many things in place in my it's like, no, don't act like you're attracted to him, because then you're asking for it. Don't show him any kindness. Don't accept any help. That's a danger. Don't and all of those things, that's what is, I think for me, all of those things are coming to the surface, and I'm now being really aware of how when he asks just, out of the blue, oh, here, can I help you? And I'm like, oh, no, I got it. You don't need to help me, because then I owe you, and that's not going to work. So we're still in the middle of all of that. So
we have a child playing in the pool.
We have a diesel dog. Our Rottweiler is playing in the swimming pool. They like their pool. So communication, and it's a tough boat.
Well, all I can do is authentic. It is, and that is one of the main things that they talk about in that book
and that's not easy.
Well, I share, and then.
Well, for me, like with me, if my trauma glasses are on, the communication isn't clear. So I have to be aware. Am I running through the trauma piece or old conditioning that isn't working anymore? To get to the authentic. Is this what I'm really feeling? And it can be exhausting. that work can be exhausting because you're checking every single thing you say, every single thing you think. And, sometimes there comes in the drug use and the alcohol use. And I know my sister, on an empathic level, she was a high empath and intuitive individual, and she drank to shut all of that stuff down. So she, she couldn't do crowds because she'd pick up way too many energies out of the crowd. But then also the drinking covers up the feelings that you don't want to feel that came from the trauma. So it's a delicate balance to go through life and call it like you see it. And some people are going to help you on that journey, and some people are not. Not going to even be aware of it. So
I feel complete for
Do you?
now. Well, I mean,
somebody's coming through the woods. Oh, that was him going through the grass. All righty, we're at 26 minutes. Ding, 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 ding. That was a lot. I feel like that was a lot. It takes me a while sometimes when we do these videos to then process what was said and trying to integrate. We're about halfway through the year, so 6 months in. A lot changed in May, on May 12th. I can't believe we're going to come up to July 12th here, like
2 months.
Like 2 days from now.
Yeah.
And it'll be 2 months. It doesn't seem like 2 months.
Yep.
So, all righty.
Okay, we're done. We're good for now.
Have a good rainy day. We'll see you all next time. Bye.